Hi there and welcome to today's video on the colour of white, or the power of white actually. We're going to be talking about a lot of different ways to use the colour and just a little bit of background content as well. So of course, while I can bring information to you, I don't consider myself to be the full bottle on anything and everything. There's always something more that we can learn. And so I do invite anybody who is listening or watching to put their own comments up, their own feedback, their own experiences of working with colour, and any tips they may have picked up along the way, perhaps by a mentor or another teacher, that might be beneficial to other people that are listening here. And I guarantee you it will be very much appreciated. So the first thing that we can understand from the colour white is, if you've actually watched the introductory videos that I've put up, including on light and the use of colours on this playlist, the power of colour, you'll actually know by now, I hope, that when we talk about white, white actually in itself doesn't have a colour. It is a reflection of light that incorporates all the other colours of the spectrum. But of course, once we view it visually, we see white as it is, which is this snow colour, and it's the opposite of black, obviously, you know, and this is actually why I've put the image in here. We've got the little black birds on the snowy background. So I just want to make the point, because I've done a lot of content when we talk about spiritual law and spiritual understandings and concepts and things like that. And if I'm moving my head around, I do apologise. Sometimes I get a bit distracted when I'm talking. I start waffling. You will understand that life in general is about polarities. We can turn around and say there's no real black and white. Well, there is and there isn't, you know. There's a lot of grey in life as well, but grey is kind of, from where I sit, it's a pretty nothing colour. We'll be talking about grey down the track. It does have meaning and it's got relevance. But while that life is black and white, there is also, within the polarities, variations. And the best way to describe this is actually to look at the Feng Shui symbol, because if you look at that, we've got the polarities, we've got the black and the white, and then within the black, we've got a little bit of white, so the black can turn grey, and within the white section, we've got that little bit of black, and the black can filter out into that white area and make it a bit grey as well. Now, while that might sound, I'm going to talk about the parts at first. First of all, the yin is considered to be the black, which is a reference, or symbolic reference at least, to the intuitive aspects, and it's referred to as being feminine historically. And the white, of course, is the yang, because we've got yin yang. Now, what it's actually saying is that because yang is the white, it's considered to be active, it symbolises warmth, it's associated to the sun, or with the sun, and it's a reference to active motion. So white is considered to be active. From an elemental perspective, it's also associated with air or thought, or what some people might call the power of the mind, whereas with the yin and the feminine aspects, that refers to the power of emotions. But we're not going to talk about black today. We'll talk about that in another video. What I want to make reference here to is, because quite often over the years of my experience of teaching people and having conversations with them and just being part of the journey, there seems to be this belief that if a person is lighter than light, or whiter than white, or a teacher or whatever, that they are above errors of judgment or even human behaviours. And frankly, I've never met anybody that's perfect, okay? Whether that person is a teacher or not, because we're all humans. When we've got a physical body, we're all humans, and everybody acts with humanity at some point in time, and not all traits of humanity are shall we say, attractive or admirable. And this is why I say I've not met anybody that's perfect, and that includes myself. I thought I'd throw that in there just in case somebody's going to go, well, you think you are. No, I don't. I am aware of my shadow, shall we say, because we've all got a shadow. This is what they refer to as the shadow aspects as well. But I think it's very, very important here that because I'm giving you guys information that when we talk about the polarities, those polarities lie within each of us as well. And we have choices about how we manage those polarities. It's our decisions that determine whether or not we live in the light, shall you say, or whether or not we allow the darkness and challenges of life to consume us. So I love the Feng Shui symbol, and this is why we must always trust our own judgment. Even if we've got a really good teacher or spiritual mentor or whatever, if they cop a big challenge, that may unbalance them and they may have to work to get themselves rebalanced. So I just sort of throw that in there when we're talking about the white and the black and the symbolism of the Feng Shui symbol. Is that a good description? Hope I've made some sense there. So let's get back to talking specifically about the white, because it is such a beautiful, amazing, and incredible colour. It is associated with divinity, purity, innocence, optimism, hope to a large extent, and truth and virtue, all the positive aspects. For many people, where a lot of us will see the crown chakra as being the violet colour, some people associate this brilliant white with the crown chakra instead of the violet. For other people, there is this association, and you might not see it very well on this little image here. I've tried to put a white flame there in the heart centre. That's where that green light is. And the aim of this image being the way it is with that flame is to identify that the divine spark that lies within all of us, that some people might call the namaste, the God center, some people call it, and others, I think there's something to do with the diamond. Some people refer to it as a diamond as well, but certainly the Christians call it the Holy Spirit that lies within. So white is associated with all of these attributes. For those people that believe in angels, or what we call the highest light vibrational beings, the shining ones, whatever, a single feather, especially if it's white, can be perceived by them to be confirmation of a presence of a visit by an angel or like, or it can be a confirmation for them that the spirit of somebody that's departed, that they've loved, who's passed to the other side, is still around them. So it becomes a form of divine communication, which is really quite lovely for those people that experience it. So while the appearance of a single feather can refer to angels or divine communication for people, and I'm talking about the white feather particularly, when it comes to the whole bird, if you've got a white bird, obviously, it doesn't matter what the colour of the bird is, but it's going to have specific, what they call animal medicine or meaning. And if you're interested in that kind of content, you can always do a Google, because there's plenty of information online. More specifically though, I thought, well, I'll put in the white peacock, because that's got meaning to the Buddhists. So where the Native Americans, actually I'll tell you about that in a little while, for the Buddhists, the white peacock symbolises nirvana, and in Hinduism, which is the most widespread religion in India, I believe, they're believed to bring luck and prosperity. And I'm talking about the white peacock here, not just any old white feather. Otherwise, alternatively, it's associated with cleanliness and purity, and as such, it's purity of mind, body, and spirit. So just a little word that I was going to talk about there. When it comes to Native Americans, I had a Native American lady tell me many years ago that when it comes to receiving animal medicine from the birds, her family traditions had said that you just go and you stand under the nest each day and you request that the specific bird give you their wisdom. And of course you approach with a good attitude and the right heart, and when we talk about attitude, it's an attitude of gratitude as well. And if you're persistent enough based on their traditions, this is what she told me, and if you know different, please put a comment up. She said to me that eventually the bird will drop you a feather, because of your dedication and commitment or whatever, and then you're able to access the magic and wisdom of that specific bird species. So just a bit of thought there for you. So, because white is this unique colour that embraces all the other colours of the spectrum, it's considered to be very powerful and probably actually one of the most powerful colours of the light spectrum, if you like, because it combines the powers of all the other ones. So, therefore, as a healing ray, it's considered to be very beneficial for people working with mental health issues or distress. What else can I say about it? It's probably more like that image. We'll come back to it in a little while where I've got the person sitting in the aura. That's the best colour to kind of define the white when we talk about healing for mental illness, particularly. So, by applying a little bit of rational logic here to this, when we associate the colour white with things like purification, physical detoxification, and this kind of stuff, then we know that it's going to really work very well with detoxifying our thoughts, our beliefs. If we've got limiting beliefs, it's going to prompt reflection on problem solving. It increases productivity. Relationships improve, mental clarity improves, and to a level, it represents integrity, holiness, truth, and surrender. But either way, I'm going to go back to the primary healing purposes and energy that I associate with the white is this connection to divinity, to fanning the flames of the divine spark, shall we say, to aligning will with divine will, and purifying the mind, body, and spirit of all toxicity and negativity that enhances our relationships with ourselves, with the people around us, with the divine, and brings greater peace and comfort through into our lives. So, the subconscious messages of being drawn to or repelled by white, and this is for consideration and something to think about, reflect upon, or to ask the person that you're working with or delivering a message to give consideration to, is whether or not they are being told to lighten up. I'm going to go with it as is. This is what the message is. And for me, it is a message of that it's time to lighten up. It's time to reflect on attitudes and thoughts and to actively seek to clear away any false internal dialogues, any harsh and critical judgments that a person may hold about themselves in their mind. And if they have found themselves falling down this rabbit warren of negative thinking and imagining the worst possible outcomes to every potential scenario, then it's time to purify the thoughts, the mind, the speech, and that internal dialogue that happens within. So other times it can just be that it's reminding you to put your focus of attention on innocence, if you like, trusting in the process of life, that there is purity and joy there, and to be able to put this complete faith on the universe that you are loved and cared for and supported. And this means not just by the people around you, but at the very least, all of us have these divine support team, I call them, which is the guardian angels and the spirit guides. There are people there where you are the number one priority. They might not necessarily have bodies, but when we trust in this faith and our divine support team, then that helps instill confidence within us, and it helps us to interact with the people around us in healthier ways. And this guidance to lighten up, if you like, it doesn't need to take a lot of reflection. It just is about raising this awareness, So for any one of us, let's say it was me, if I was drawn to white, all of a sudden I would think, yes, okay, that's a reminder I need to lighten up. And then, am I being too dark and gloomy? Am I allowing the universe or what I see on the media to influence the way I feel and to impact on my hope and faith in the future, all of this kind of thing? So it could just be I am actually. I don't need to dig down into exactly what it is that is bogging me down. I just need to recognize that, yes, actually, I am allowing myself to be bogged down. So now it's time for me to do an activity to lighten myself up, lighten up my energy, lighten up my thinking. So the way that I can do this is by drawing upon the white ray, which this is what this image is supposed to indicate here, because the white ray and drawing on the energy of white helps to enhance the highest levels of peace and comfort, and it does represent integrity, holiness, truth, and surrender. So this white ray, while I call it the white light, some people call it different names. It could be referred to by some people as the white light of consciousness, the divine light. I have heard Christians refer to it as the Christ light, but each to their own. It's just a white light. And anyway, you would just draw upon that white light and fill your aura with it. So I'll give you a strategy. So everything that we do is contextual, okay? So this is a healing activity that involves the white rose. Because I've worked with people in the mental health field, of course, you can't impose your spiritual values or beliefs upon people. All we do is give them tools and strategies for them to be able to use that might improve the way they feel. I would be inclined to give this activity to somebody who has expressed that they don't feel loved, that they feel completely isolated, that they're alone in the world, and that their world is joyless, and they become bogged down very easily with the unpleasant stuff of life that they see in the media and that kind of thing, or simply by the behaviours of other people around them. So to encourage them to feel love at a core level, you could turn around and say to them, look, here's a little activity for you to do. And just imagine on those days or at those times when you're feeling unloved, lacking in love, that you've got no love left to give to anybody because you feel like an empty vessel. Just imagine that you've got a white rosebud in your heart. And as you breathe in, you inhale, and you send this white light from above your head down into your rose, and as you exhale, this rose expands and grows in your heart, and you see it going from a bud to a full blossom bloom. This is what I would be encouraging them to do, and to allow the peace and feelings of love, comfort, and support to enter and permeate every essence of their being, so to speak. And then the other interesting thing that you can do with people is ask them after the fact, how do you find that activity? Did it feel better for you? And what was the outcome? And I can ask you this as well myself, that if you were to do these activities with the rose, or any of the activities that I give you, that you write a comment below as to how you found it. You know, did it work for you? Did it make a difference? Or did you think that was a load of codswallop? And perhaps if it felt like nothing, perhaps do it a few more times and let us know how it worked for you. You know, it might take a little while to actually feel the sensations. But the other thing is, if you are into spiritual and energy work, then you could add an affirmation to this exercise or activity with the rose, saying, I am aligned with the great I am, or I am open to the giving and receiving of divine and unconditional love I am, because that would actually be my first recommendation if it wasn't in a workplace setting. If I was not in a mental health field and working with somebody in a spiritual or energy setting, that's what I would be advising them to do. If you know that a person is into the metaphysical or healing energy, you can get them to do a chakra meditation, breath meditation. And this one puts the emphasis on the sacred breath. I've got videos up on how to do the sacred breath. If you don't remember or you can't find it, put a comment and I'll pop the link up. But basically, this is something that can be incorporated for a full mind, body, spirit healing. You just visualize yourself sitting within this white, beautiful white bubble that tends to reflect. As I said, the white has all the colors. So I like to sort of explain it as a bit of a pearlescent type color, or the inside of an oyster shell, where it is white, but you get these other reflections coming through as well. So you inhale through your crown chakra, and then on the exhale, you push from your heart or lung space, or the diaphragm, which is where that yellow dot is. You push from that area the breath outward, and you fill your aura with this beautiful white colour. Just a reminder though, before we do any type of healing meditation, we state the intent and purpose of the meditation before we do it. And if you are doing an invocation or something like that as part of this healing activity and exercise, don't forget to close with the gratitude, thanks be for blessings received. If you feel that your home environment or the space where you work has become heavy with what we call dross energy, dark energy. And by dark, I don't mean evil. I mean the kind of space and place where, for instance, having worked in homelessness environments, people are exposed to all sorts of horrors. And it's a bit like, I suppose, a bit of debris flicking off their aura as they're walking in and out and past and all the rest of it. When you get a lot of traffic of people that are exposed to a lot of pain and suffering, then some of that energy becomes what we call residual energy or dross. And what we can do for the environment is we can actually burn white candles. You might not be able to do this, though. It depends on where you're working or where you live. Here in Australia, some places won't let you burn candles anymore. But if you can, you could burn off white candles, being symbolic of the purification process. And because when we talk about candles and the candle flame, the flame itself is believed to burn up the dross. Okay, I've seen that or heard that that's an attribution of the flame. And this doesn't require any visualization at all and no great effort, really. It's worth a shot. Let me know how it goes. Give it a try. I'm always interested. So, my friends, that's about all I can give you today in regard to the white. I hope that the information I've provided to you is useful and beneficial. If you've got comments or other suggestions, healing suggestions that you use, once again, I invite you to make your comments and let us know. I just want to acknowledge this image here before I close out for the day and say that it is, from my perspective, being involved in colour healing and loving things like colour healing and therapy and the symbolism of it, this is a particularly beautiful image here because it's got these little bits of yellow inside of it, which is associated with the colour gold. So to me, this particular image conveys a representation not only of the divinity, the divine consciousness, or the creator, if that's what we want to call God, by whatever name we refer to God, but also there's a reference here with the yellow and goldy type colour to the shining ones that I refer to. But anyway, so that's it for me for today. Wishing you a blessed day, blessed week. Take care. Catch you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.